it out. We're in Glenside. My boy hit me up, Kenny, said he was doing a YODA today. Freaking YODA on somebody. So, you know, in the spirit of a Star Wars lover, I figured I'd go by and check it out. I heard he's about like 2.5 hours or so into the tattoo session now, so I'm gonna go by, try to catch the last, like, say, hour and a half or two. Who knows? He tattoos so fast, so who knows? YODA might be fucking already YODA'd out already. So, but anyway, we just touched down in Glenside. So we're almost there. We're headed to Intimate Body Art Tattoo Studio. So hopefully YODA's not totally complete, so we can catch some of it. But hey, YODA, YODA, YODA. Okay, looks like Keswick Avenue. We're gonna bang a left here. I think it should be up here on the left-hand side, so we're almost there. Hopefully YODA is still getting some ink. We're pulling in now. YODA is still got his pagoda on.
Ken Bryan back at Intimate Body Art Studios. I put a picture out on Facebook of a portrait of YODA that I wanted to do. I guess it came from a movie poster. And this gentleman here decided that he was going to come through and get it done. So we're about 3 hours in. I've got most of the face done, you know, part of the robe, hands, feet. So, you know, we're gonna go back into it, see how much we can complete. Hopefully we can knock it all out. I had a little longer break than usual because the camera setup was happening, so it might sting a little bit when we get back into it. If he decides that he's gonna punk it up too much, we might hit him with some Bactine or something, because we have been going for a little while. So, you know, whatever it takes to make it through. Nobody's gonna know whether we Bactined him up because he punked out on us, you know, 10 years from now when he still got YODA on his back. So let's go see what we can do.
All right, sweet. All right, so how do you like it so far, buddy?
I love it.
Love it? Yeah, all right.
Most people start out and there's always that one shamrock over here with the rest in peace so-and-so, and the, you know, and then you got to figure out how to incorporate a cover-up into the work that you're doing. This, we start out with some fresh skin, so before I even got to tattooing it, I was already thinking of the next step, and I think that would be pretty sick. So keep your eye out, because you never know if the to be continued will happen. I thought that I would mention that I called Roy at Cam Supply Ron in the last video, and he said he'd be satisfied with me making the correction in the next one, so that would be it. This is a little larger piece than a lot of the stuff I guess you filmed me doing. So a lot of this I'm actually using my 11 mag this time around. It's the curved 11 Magnum. I did go in with the 7 mag on the face because there's a little bit more intricacy in the detail work, and I like the sharp corners on the 7 mag single stack that's just flat, so I can kind of wedge in, get little wrinkles and crevices and stuff. But I'm covering a much bigger amount of space at this point, so I'm going in with the 11. I almost considered a 13, but it's a little clumsy and bulky for me. I know a lot of tattooists that like to use 13s, 15s, even, you know, up into the you know, 30s or what have you as far as their mags go. I don't really have my machine set up to push mags that are that heavy to begin with, and I don't use them enough to really be as comfortable with them control-wise. So I figured, you know, it may take a little longer, but we'll stick to the 11 mag, and I can have the precision that I want and still cover the kind of ground I'm looking to cover in the amount of time that I'm looking for. We're not making horrible time with this. You know, we're at good 3.5 hours since we actually started it. I had kind of guesstimated 6 or so when we got into it, and I blew it up to this size. And looks like we might could bang it out in 5, but we'll have to see. You know, I don't want to rush through it. As long as this man can sit, hopefully the peer pressure of having that camera on him will make him not decide to quit on me over here before we actually get it done. And, you know, the more I'm using these silverback inks, the more I'm digging them. Every time I've ordered a set, I mean, it's pretty consistently mixed the same way. So if I'm out of a number 2, for example, and I call up and I get, you know, a set from Cam Supply, and I grab the bottle labeled number 2, it's not kind of like number 2, but it could be sort of like number 3. Like you're pretty close to exactly the same every time I get it. So that does make my life a little easier when I'm figuring out, you know, how to get back into a piece or knowing exactly how my pigments are going to react when I use them. I want to spray that down just so I can get a look at that pant leg there. I mean, I've been working on this thing now for what? 3 hours and 40 minutes, 3:45, something like that. Notice my stencil's still on there. I use a product called Stencil Stuff. And I used to use, you know, like just green soap to stick it, or way back in the old school days, it was like the speed stick way back in the day. And I mean, they'll stick it on there fine, it just doesn't last nearly as long. And if you look, like there's no outline on any of this stuff to hold it in place. And I use the Stencil Stuff because, you know, once I stick it on there, as long as I'm not working too sloppily, and I will work sloppy sometimes too, so, you know, it kind of saves my butt because I don't want to lose some of the stencil and be stuck freehanding in stuff that I don't have to. Obviously, as you go along, you know, part of it, you just got to kind of wing it and improvise, but it sure makes life easier when you have a product that'll allow you to just go to work and not be as concerned about, you know, losing parts of the stuff that you need. It can get pretty stressful if you get part of the way into a tattoo and you're kind of relying on placement of your stencil and then it disappears on you. Now you got Sharpies trying to put it back in. You know, as you stretch the skin, obviously it warps it in all different directions. And so, I mean, not that that's not part of tattooing, but I like every little bit of help I can get. Yeah, man, this guy's starting to look a little Yoda-ish.
You can feel the force?
Yeah, because the force flows from within. Now we're actually at just about the 4-hour mark from when we started doing the tattoo. I'm probably going to keep on rolling until we at least finish this pant leg off over here. And we'll just have one sleeve left. And at that point, we can start concentrating on all of the white highlighting and stuff and the lightsaber and the whatever. But I definitely want to get the last of this pant leg in, because that'll give us a good amount of completion and make me feel like I did something, so I don't take a break and come back in and be like, man, I still got all this I got to do. So I don't know if you see what I just did. I did all of the folds and wrinkles in it first, and now I'm going back over them with some darker ink to give it its dimension. What I used to do is I would do all of my dimension first and then try to go back in and add the folds and wrinkles, and it would make it pretty difficult to make it look like you did certain parts of it on purpose, because you would already have darkness in certain areas and you might not want that darkness there. You might need to lighten a certain part of it up to pop it forward. So if it's already light to begin with and then you go back in secondarily and put your darkness in, then you can go just as dark as you need without overdoing it. A quick spray down so I can see what's happening. Looks like we're making some half-decent progress. All we have left with the black and gray section is right over there at the sleeve and part of the cape. And we'll be able to go in with some white highlights and maybe some mint greens or something in the lightsaber, fingernails, eyes. And the next phase of this, now that we've gotten back from that cigarette break, is to try to knock off the rest of this cloak robe thing that he's wearing, and pretty much all that's left is this sleeve section that we're into, where it has a little bit of the cape trailing behind it. So we'll come in and knock as much of this out as we can, and we'll try and figure out what we're going to do about highlights and, you know, kind of some of the subtleties that are going to make this a little more polished piece.
I don't know if Nicole knows I have this.
So now is going to be the part that he actually is going to enjoy a little bit, because I got to go in and make some more depth and dimension in this. I'm going to hit him with some back teen. So we'll let that just settle in there for a couple minutes. It's not going to make you not feel it, but it'll definitely take some of the edge off of it a little bit. Grind a little of this white into the lightsaber. Again, he's not going to like me very much. Alrighty. Nuclear colors. Invisible fallout. This is from Mom's. Actually, they gave this to me as a sample at the Baltimore show, I think, last year. And they actually had a guy doing a demonstration where he was eating this pigment to prove to you that it was non-toxic, etc., etc., etc. I've yet to use it. This is the first time I'm using it, but you know.
You're definitely not going to eat it though, right?
I have no plans on eating it because he had the black light on and his whole face was like covered in foul. But he was like, you know, it was all around his mouth and whatever, but. So if you're actually going to hang out, I'll make that quick trip up to the Walmart, grab just a little mini bullshit black light just to see how it does. Time to see if the black light pigment works, so that's all the good stuff that we got going on there. It's all cleaned off. So let's turn this on and this off.
His eyes, I can see it in his, oh yeah, toenails.
His underwear.
Yeah, his underwear. Yeah, there you go.
So that's actually,
that
actually turned out pretty sick.
That is definitely pretty sick.
Always with you what cannot be done. Do you nothing that I say?